Two directors, same concept. A lone ninja on a rooftop facing his enemy on a blockbuster level. Same tools, same rules, same stages. I sign off their prep like any producer would, but every creative decision is theirs. This is Claude against Claude. Opus 4.8 versus the new model Fable 5. And by the end you see both finished films side by side and answer the question that actually matters. Which one is the best creative tool for filmmakers? Everybody's testing Fable 5 on a chat box right now. Asking it questions, letting it write. That tells you actually nothing about how good this new model can actually direct the scenery. Because until recently Claude could only talk about filmmaking. That changed with the Higgsfield MCP, the official connector that gives Claude hands. It writes the prompts, picks from 30+ models and generate image, video and even sound directly. That's agentic AI. And it's the only reason this test is possible. Full transparency, Higgsfield is sponsoring this video, but don't be afraid, I show you the real results. No fakes, just real facts what I think about the Higgsfield and Claude workflow. If you want to try Fable 5 for yourself in the Higgsfield MCP, check out the first link in the video direction and try it yourself. Both directors, Opus and Fable, work in real production stages. They pitch the script, the reference images, and then we will produce the final video. Because the real challenge is to find out which model needs less help, because my goal as a filmmaker is to fasten my workflow as much as possible. The setup takes 1 minute. In Claude, settings, connectors, add a custom connector, paste the Higgsfield MCP URL, sign in with your Higgsfield account, done. Every generation you see runs through this connection. On Higgsfield credits. To make the test fair, I deactivated the memory function because I don't want that Claude knows everything I did beforehand in the other project. And I'm also doing this one after another so that we have the most pure result at the end. So this is a briefing I generated and it's pretty straightforward. Just 1 minute cinematic blockbuster scene of a ninja on some rooftops and in facing an enemy. We'll fight him in a short action sequence and then the video ends with just a cliffhanger. Also very important because I'm a very controlling guy. I want everything to approve. I can make the test on just auto and say run it for me, but I want as a creative, as a filmmaker, always to have a little bit of possibility to adjust a few settings because control is everything. So this is stage 1 that Opus 4.8 generated for me. Actually make a small description of both of the characters and the location. Also he made a short shot list. He wants to do 12 shots for a 60-second clip. This could be good, but in my opinion already feels a little bit much because a blockbuster scenery with a long action sequence, I don't think we need that much clips to make it dramatic. You can actually see he split it up in Act 1 and Act 2. In the first 36 seconds there's just the build up until he meets the enemy, and then in Act 2 we have actually the fighting sequence. The shot list is pretty simple. He's just always the location, a camera movement here on the side and some small information about what the character should do, what he shouldn't do. In my opinion everything's a little bit too simple. When I prompt, on direct, I try to be very detailed from camera position, the framing and everything. Every professional term you can use, you should most of the time use when you create. So this is the character that he created and he chose Nano Banana 2 to actually create the characters. In my opinion, doesn't look too good. A very basic ninja video game look in my opinion. It really looks like Mortal Kombat. The second one also looks very computer generated, but the overall design is very cool, very abstract. We are more of a tanky feeling with this character. And the location actually is really dope. We have this little China lanterns here on the side and it's a very cool futuristic New York setting in the background. Also already a little bit of color contrast with this warm tones here on the rooftop and this colder tones in the background. Orange teal, very basic, but in a lot of blockbuster movies, so it's a very common look that a lot of people like. So this is the shot list that Fable created. It's already a little bit different. We have only 8 shots, but overall it's pretty much the same how he worked. So the very straightforward commands and camera movements, but in my opinion already that he decided to make less shots gives me the feeling that we get a more dramatic and more controlled result at the end. Also the storyline and how each shot is placed after the other feels much more natural and how I would write probably a scene like this. So this is the character that he generated. He decided to do a woman, but overall the style pretty similar. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter look that we have here. Also again, this is a very cool City Nights background. He decided to go also for a bulkier enemy, but now we have a real human. I really like the scar in the eyes. Gives him a little bit of this guy is evil feeling. Then on the location, I think this looks much more boring. Now I'll make a small technical decision. Now I tell the AI to use GPT-2 instead of Nana Banana to maybe give me a different aesthetic and look of the characters. And this is the result. Already I think looks a bit more detailed, a bit more realistic, but overall I still get this very Mortal Kombat feeling. And also here for the bad guy, which now looks much cooler. I think GPT-2 made here a very cool character. Gives me now a little bit of pseudo leveling vibes. The location didn't change as much, it's basically just a different angle. Let's check out the Fable one. Here again, check out the before and after. Much better result in my opinion. GPT-2 really is the best image model right now. Higgsfield Soul Cinema is also a very good tool to create really realistic sceneries. And also the location now looks much cooler and we have this very nice dramatic cinematic vibe. We also don't have as much teal orange as before. Teal orange really fast tends to look very cheap, but here I think it looks very natural, organic, and gives me a very high quality feeling. So I finished off with saying that I like the GPT-2 images the most. The only comment that I give is that when he uses C-Dance, he should use 1080p resolution. Fable already started generating. He didn't give me any reference frames, he straight up started generating clips. Opus on the other hand gave me for every scene a reference frame. Now I could actually make changes that would say, give me for this image a tighter frame or do a completely different character in this frame. You can actually see all your generations online on Higgsfield because in the end of the day it's a connector. Everything happens in Higgsfield and just transports through the MCP into your Claude. When we go to the Opus frames, they used Nano Banana 2 again for these images, but overall I think they still look a little bit cheap. I don't like when it's too oversaturated, too contrasty, and I think they have a hard time matching these shots and sticking it together. The establishing shot of this villain looks absolutely insane. I don't have a reference yet for the Fable one because Fable one is currently generating the videos already, so we'll see the final result as soon as it's finished. We're done with the video generation from Opus, and you can actually see we get a little guideline where we should put every clip in the timeline. Also here some extra notes how I should handle some of these clips when I think they don't work. I should do this, and he also gives me the options when I have anything to criticize to generate a new video. But we already have the first problem with Opus. He doesn't generate any video with audio. All of them are mute. As you can see, every clip right now doesn't have audio at all, which is very annoying because sound design to such a complex thing, a fight scene, is very hard to do. This is the clip from the Fable video and you can hear clearly, here's audio, here's some ambience, and this will make the final video against Opus 100% better. So I add a little bit of sound design to the Opus one, but I just use samples from this one, so don't expect anything spectacular. Now I will put the clips into the Vinci and make small adjustments just to the length of the clip, maybe rearrange some of them to make everything more fluid, but that's it. Okay, we are done. Let's see the Opus videos first, then the Fable one, and then I will criticize both of them. Enjoy! my opinion, we have a very clear winner right here, and it's Fable 5. The whole 1 minute teaser feels a lot more cinematic. The storyline actually adds up. We have much more consistency, and the Opus video feels very AI-ish, and we have a lot of problems in the video, but let's check it out together. This is the only shot I think is a lot cooler than in the Fable one, because the little addition here that he sits on this little pole like Itachi in Naruto. But when we play further, this also okay, but now already different location than the next shot. We have already some IE glitching, because who is this guy? He was not there, he shouldn't be there. I really like the slow motion aspect that we got here. It's often a problem, I think, when we have reference frames or also working with seedance, that he's too focused on using this exactly still and working with it, rather than just give seedance images for inspiration and then you will do the rest. When we too focus on frames, I think we have a lot of problems with consistency, because this shot is okay. Also, motion looks very weird. In my opinion, that's pretty weird, because both of them used seedance too. So there shouldn't be actually any difference. So the only difference is how they prompt internally and give it to Higgsfield. And the results I'm looking at, I think it makes a huge difference. Also here we have a glitch where he does the same thing 2 times. Also not something I want to see. Now again, totally different location. Then this is the money shot. The overall character I like here a lot more, because it's a lot more interesting. Then we have this very gross shot. I never seen in my life something that looks so cheap. I don't like the blue tint and the red tint behind the character. It looks very Photoshop 2003 fan images like. And this clash comes out of nowhere. I think I know what they are going for. Also, it just stops. That's not something, I don't play pause. The clip just stops and does nothing. Then we have this fighting sequence, which is okay. We have a little bit of orbit going on, but not much. The movements are okay, but overall the character consistency also drifts a little bit in my opinion. Doesn't look like him at all anymore. It looks very glossy, very clean, not as much texture than before. Then we have this orbit 360 shot, which is kind of cool, and then we end up with this shot, which is also very cheap. Looks very like cheap photography. A few months ago we would probably say, wow, this is amazing, don't shoot anything real anymore. But now, I don't like the result that much. On the other hand, Fable 1 is very cool. Then we switch up to this nice tracking shot of her jumping across the buildings. And then we have the establisher of the villain, which I think doesn't look as good. The smoke looks very weird. I think a portal or something like this would look better. But overall, everything looks already much more natural. Also here, the consistency on the location. We are on this billboard. Sure, this billboard should be much more in the front and then in the back, but these are small details. Even though in real filmmaking, I often just warp the room around how I like it, because when I put the character here, it looks good, but it wouldn't make any sense, but it looks good. So that's why I'm doing it. And that happens in a lot of movies. So background consistency is not that important. Then also the transition from this shot to this shot, very cool. We have a little build up, and here the fight sequence really sells everything. Every blade connects, punch connects. We have this nice orbit shot, and then these 2 little cuts, which from here to there, this is multi-shot. So this is not an extra shot that was in the shot list. Seedance done it by himself. And these 2 small cuts really enhance the shot a lot in my opinion. They look very good. Only thing I don't understand is why they have glowing fighting swords, but it looks cool. But then on the consistency side, we lose them actually at the end. But what's also nice here, we have a little bit of a vertigo at the end, and then the sound rises and we cut. If you want to try Fable 5 for yourself in the Higgsfield MCP, check out the first link in the video direction and try it yourself. Overall, this AI movie feels much more connected and much more real. When we look both of them side by side, it looks like we use totally different models, and that's just not the case. Fable just understands filmmaking much more than Opus 4.8, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't thought the results would be that obvious at the end. You have to realize we actually got this really great result with basically 1 prompt, 1.5. Tell me actually in the comments which one do you prefer right now. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate subscription from you. My name is Marco Bagnoli and I'll see you next time.